my fondest memory of 1959?
Wow, that's really a tough one. That's so far back, Averill.
I'd have to think about that.
I don't know if I can remember that far back.
I think it would be easy to say it was graduating and looking forward to what was to come, but I don't know, just all the friends.
The classmates and the friends that I had, it was a wonderful circle of friends.
Just that it was my last year of high school.
Maybe it's when Peggy Chase raced down the stairway and gave me a kiss on the cheek and ran back up.
Used to like it when I could get a car and drive from the family to drive to school.
Being able to just spend the whole night together, because after graduation, then didn't we go to the Minneapolis Golf Club? Yes, we did.
I guess the all-night party.
Well, obviously it's meeting up with Suzanne and getting her to go out with me.
Steve Feltus and I spent the party together with David Friedman, and after the party was over, I went to Steve's house. I believe I met his mother, I'm not sure. Then we walked around Lake of the Isles, and
yeah, I talked to her for 8 hours straight, and by the end of it she decided she'd go out with me.
I left Minnesota. I left. My mother wasn't interested in my going to college. My stepbrother sent me.
When Roger DeClerc, he always felt that teenagers could do Shakespeare, and he insisted on it, so the senior year we did Midsummer Night's Dream, and I not only got to play the Queen of the Fairies, but I got to choreograph it.
Maybe seeing my youngest brother walk down the aisle as a ring bearer for homecoming, and I was in the court or whatever, or, you know, an assistant or whatever. So that was really, and I look at pictures now, and because he is no longer living, I thought how sweet it was. And Patty Hoban's sister was the same, did the same.
I remember writing all those captions under the senior pictures for the yearbook.
I did the student section.
She did the student
life,
yeah,
yeah.
Right.
One of my fondest memories is what Judy Code just told you not to ask me about, but I took her to the prom, which was the first dance I ever attended at St. Louis Park High. I passed her a note in the counselor's office asking if she'd go with me, and she passed me a note where you bought the lunch tickets. I sold lunch tickets, and she wrote on the back of her dollar bill or whatever, yeah, I'll go with you. The day before the prom, I went over to Barb Cohen's house, and she and her dad tried to teach me to dance, which was kind of cool. That's a good memory too.
Friends Barb was one of my friends. We used to do things, go to games and enjoy games. So
we spent time at a party at Mark Aaronson's house when we were probably 12 or 13.
I think we were more like 13 or 14 probably, 8th, 9th grade.
Ended up playing Spin the Bottle.
But nothing really happened.
No, I think
it was quite innocent.
My mother told me when I was in high school that I had to be friendly to everyone because they were important. Every person was important, no matter who they were. And I gravitated a lot to kids who were handicapped, and that's what I did in life, was teach handicapped kids.
I was blessed because I had tremendous mentors all along the way. I had Jack Alwyn and Roger DeClerc. They were very influential because they really helped you bring out that which was special in you.
Boy, that's an interesting question. Aren't other people like us?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Oh, man, everybody talks about that. It's hard to say, but it's there. It's still there. Other people know it's there.
I don't know if I can put my finger on it, but I think there's a genuineness, the relationships, the friendships, starting in grade schools, that people just don't let go, they don't forget. And I think it's to be envied, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
People who spend a lot of time growing up together, playing ball together, sports, running track, basketball games, going to movies, going to dances, attending classes, growing up in Fernhill, Oak Hill, Brookside, Lenox, Elliott, junior high school, all those experiences. How many times in our life do we experience so many things with so many people?
They say, where are you from? I say, I'm from Minneapolis. Now people are more specific. They'll say, where in Minneapolis? And I'll say, well, I grew up in St. Louis Park. And they smile. Everybody knows where St. Louis Park is. And I don't understand that, but it's interesting.
You know, I guess we had a good thing going back then, and never forgot that.
I think we had a camaraderie with our friends, a closeness that possibly the other classes didn't have.
I just assumed that this was a feeling that every class would have, and that, you know, I wasn't doing anything unique. But I brought into the idea that we were special, I think.
Maybe it's the fact that we're mortal. There aren't going to be too many opportunities to do this. And you never know what's around the corner. And I guess that's what it is. Then realizing that you are loved.
It's probably because of people like you and Perry and David and Kurt that have pushed us, you know, into it, and everyone loves it.
Well, I think that's because of Dave Nitz. I think he really is the motivator behind that. I think he really loves it, and I think it's because he wants everybody to have a good time and get along.
I think I've made a little bit of difference in that I've pushed hard to avoid making this kind of a show that's run by a couple of cliques.
And we had all these wonderful groups of people and such a variety. And I think that made our class special, because as different as some of us were in terms of our interests, we all had a sense of that cohesiveness and that spirit. It was there. I just think that, and it came down to respect. It came down to belief in ourselves and the fact that we were believed in by those who pushed us along and helped us find our way. It was a very special time.
I think we had a great diversity of people and personalities, neighborhoods that all kind of merged together, and a brand new school and a brand new feeling of camaraderie.
And I think the people that live here still all see each other, and so we've all kept in contact, and that's helped.
You know, I talked to people from the classes ahead of us and behind us, and I don't know that very many of them have developed the kind of friendships we have that have lasted for so long. And some guys, I mean, like you, I see you, once every couple of years, but I consider you a good friend.
A lot of the people that I see here tonight I haven't seen in 5 years since the last reunion, and before that, because I traveled so much, you know, I didn't go to many of the previous reunions. But many of them, it's the relationship that are very special, that you might not see somebody for 5 years, but when you do, it's like you pick up where you left off as though you had just seen them yesterday or the day before. And those relationships are very special, and there's just some chemistry with these people that allows for those kinds of relationships, and that makes it very special, for sure.
Such a simple time, you know. We didn't have the electronics. We all paid attention to each other. We were families. We sat down to eat at meal times and talk together, and we would go for rides and do things together as a family. They don't do that so much now. Everybody is so busy.
I mean, people weren't carrying around knives and guns and shooting up heroin or, you know, doing whatever they do.
You could turn your kids loose. Did you just roam the neighborhood when you were little? I did. You know, just roam the neighborhood as long as you turned up for dinner. You know, your mother was happy.
There was a substance, there was value, people had respect, there was courtesy. We didn't have all these other things, and granted, we have the mobile devices, we have all these things, but somehow the communication was more connected.
I would say it was, for me, it was like an early Camelot. It was just simple and kind and fun. And
I spent a lot of time with Joni and her parents. Her mom sometimes used to say, "Can't you find any Jewish friends?" But they just adopted me. They were wonderful to me. And I spent a lot of time with them, and this is true confessions. I used to go to her house and make her go for walks with me by Jeff Fine's house, hoping he would just come out the front door and maybe pick up his newspaper or something because he was so cute. But he never did.
Columbia came out with stereo for the first time. And I used to hang out at this record store, and they agreed to sell me their demonstration unit, which was headphones and a little box but no speakers, you know, for $100 after they were done with the promotion. So I got that, and I had that in my little bedroom, and I could listen to anything I wanted to listen to, and nobody complained.
It was an innocent time. I mean, we got ourselves into a lot of trouble, but not the kind of trouble that kids get themselves into today.
We didn't have drugs. You know, really no one drank alcohol. I mean, the boys did once in a while.
So true, except for a few escapades. Like Rock Isle Park, getting taken to the Victoria jail.
I don't remember that at all.
No. Fingerprinted.
We painted St. Louis Park, or SLP, on the front of the old Edina High School, the one that when it was on Highway 100. They came and they poured gasoline on the high school football field in the shape of the letters EDINA, and then they lit a match, and so the grass was burned black and spelled out the words Edina. And Bill and Wayne and a bunch of other people felt the need to retaliate, and so I was an observer. I was in the back seat.
When I was at Park, I really didn't do a lot of thinking of what minorities were in our school. There weren't. Very few, a couple. And then you didn't even think about it. Just one.
One Japanese guy.
One Japanese, no blacks, no Chicanos. We were so insular in some ways that we didn't know that we were.
That's about 6.
Oh my God, do you want to go there?
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing, I didn't know what a lesbian was.
Just a lot of exploration.
I probably didn't even think about it much.
I don't know that anybody that I knew had much clue about it.
Didn't think a lot about sex.
I was a virgin.
Oh, I probably could have been appointed the most innocent girl in the school. I was very shy, very quiet.
A lot of things went on in high school that I had no clue about.
They talked about boys. They talked about making out, but they didn't talk about sex.
You had crushes, you had, you know, kisses or whatever, but no, it wasn't much more than that.
And there was a moment, like an event, the big talk was, did they go all the way? There was always that. And I don't know how many people actually went all the way. We were pretty damn naive, I think.
I had desires.
That was when I just kind of really had an awakening to that whole thing, and all those feelings flood in, and you know, and you're horny all the time, and yeah, that was high school.
All I can remember is my mom bought me a book. I don't remember if she said anything or not.
My mother's idea of sex education was, men are beasts, don't ever let anyone touch you. So after years of therapy, I've gotten over that.
It's kind of, you know, it wasn't a big conversation at my home.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I was really shy, and if there were young women who were pretty assertive, that would work, you know.
Kids today think that it's part of the dating routine or growing up or whatever, but you know, in our day and age, it was definitely, I would say, a no-no.
I think 59 was a great year to be there because there weren't a lot of pressures. It was a really innocent time.
We're all 73 years old, and I don't know about you, but when I was 18 years old and we graduated, even Jack Alwyn, who was maybe 35 or something, seemed like an old guy.
I have just enjoyed so much meeting new people that I'd look at their name and I went, wow, did they go to high school here? And then finding out who they are, it's been really, really fun.
It's been nice, you know, it's been nice to see all these folks again. And a lot of them I didn't know in school. Not really. But it doesn't seem to make any difference.
I was wondering who was going to come, and was I going to meet people that I didn't know very well so I'd have a chance to talk to them.
Kids, even though they were in certain groups or cliques, never looked down their nose at other people. And they don't do it now. It's almost as if we were all friends and we've known each other all along.
I guess I've become, in my old age, I've become a more social person. When I was in high school, I was very shy. I was concerned that I wouldn't know anybody, they wouldn't know me, because I wasn't, you know, I didn't socialize that much. And now it's, you know, once I get rolling, you know, it's hard to stop me.
How much smaller it's gotten, how many people we've lost, some really good friends. And it's hard because you know that from now on it's only going to be more.
It's reality. I remember when I got a phone call, or no, I got an email from one of my girlfriends. I was at work, I guess 5 years ago, and one of my closest friends that I grew up with, graduated with us, had died. I was just horrified. It's like, this isn't possible, but it is possible, and it happens, and I thought, I want to be there, and we'll let 5 years from now take its course, and hopefully people will be well, and we'll see what happens.
There's three groups of people: the people that are here, the people that don't respond and don't show up, and the people that are dead. If I could pick my people to be a reunion with, I'd pick from each of those three groups. So I feel kind of melancholy about the fact that both that those people aren't going to be here because they're dead, and the fact that they, for whatever reasons, and probably very legitimate reasons, they've chosen not to come to this. Yeah. And it could have been me. I could have very easily chosen not to come to this, and whatever, you know.
Some people aren't here because they say they moved on. Well, I don't know why we should move on from old friends. To me, old friends are kind of like best friends because we've gone through so much together.
It's so special because I come from out of town. So I'm renewing all the old friendships that you just step right back in. I mean, it's like I haven't been gone.
It's a good way to kind of refresh. You bring up memories that have sometimes been long forgotten.
It's like here we are, and I look around and I look at the faces of all of our classmates, and I see the youth that we had, and I look in the eyes and I see that people are still kind of like what the way they looked like before, but there's all those miles and all those experiences, and each one of us on our special journey that has gone by. Whoosh, it feels like a flash at moments.
You know, you think, oh, geez, we just did this, you know, what, 3 years ago for our 70th thing, and then you walk in, any function that we've been to, I walk in and I think, oh gosh, there's so-and-so.
And sometimes you almost feel like you're back there in 1959.
Most of you guys who have history going back to grade school, I mean, those are relationships and bonds that go back a long way, and they're cemented, and they're very meaningful.
You know, when you essentially grow up together and experience a lot of things together as a teenager, there's bonds that kind of stay forever.
How many times in our life do we have an opportunity to spend that much time? 10, 12, 13 years in some instances with people growing together and learning together and having fun together. And it seems like it's a good thing to perpetuate.
But my ideas of sex were, they were the same as Sandy's. Sandy Rempfer. She and I were aligned on...
She had no thought.
She had no thoughts on sex? Well,
you don't do that.
You don't do that? Well, I don't know. Then maybe we weren't as aligned as I thought we were.